what was going on in your life at that time that you were, having that issue, or that you were going through that pity city or the pit of shit? What was going on?
Well, all of the ladies listening will love this. So my youngest, who is now almost 16, had gone to school. I stayed at home. I have 3 boys, which I always say qualifies me to have brass ovaries. But the youngest had gone to school. So now I'm staying at home to absolutely no one, right?
Okay.
Nobody there. It's just me. And I'm eating lunch by myself, and I'm doing coffees with other women. I'm doing the PTA thing. I'm like stuffing folders in the classroom on Friday mornings. I'm, the mom that has to have the most like kick-ass cupcakes for, Halloween party, all of those things, which I hated.
Wow.
I hated every second of all of that. Now, that's not to say for those of you listening that, if that's your jam, that's great. It was not.
Right.
I was living outside of my calling. I was living outside of my purpose. Those things were not fueling me. I was simply doing them, to prove myself, to prove that this is what a good mom does. This is what a good, a good PTA mom does. This is what a good wife does. Right. And people please, because I really hadn't built my life on anything solid and foundational at this point. So it was just, oh, you want me to do this? Sure. Oh, you want, sure. Oh, just giving my value away.
You are a yes man.
Yes, I'm a total yes man. Absolutely. So I had a moment where, and it was the strangest moment, but I always used to go, this is such a weird moment. Should I even be talking about this? Because it was so simple. But I think more and more, the more that I share it with women, I love this piece of my story because it is so simple, right? Too often in life, we try to complicate things, and we think if we don't have these big, expansive, mind-blowing stories, then share them. We can't share them. Who am I to share? Right. My story's not glossy and pretty enough, and it doesn't have enough pizzazz.
Right.
The story doesn't have a lot of pizzazz, but as it goes down, I was doing the wash one day. Again, home alone, sitting in my misery. I was that woman who, like, the alarm would go off and I'd want to pull the covers back over my head. Yeah. But now I'm like, let's go.
It's a new day.
Right. So total contrast. But anyway, I was doing laundry one particular day, and I was moving the sheets or jeans, whatever, towels from the wash to the dryer. And I stood there and I lingered for a moment in front of the dryer. I just stood there and I watched, let's just say it was towels. I watched the towels kind of bounce around to and fro. And I thought, my God, that's my life. Like, I just feel like every day the alarm goes off, I'm thrown into the dryer, and I'm just like jostling all over the place. Like, it's everybody else's agenda. None of this really excites me. I mean, I love my kids. Like, we are.
Right.
I mean, I have a great solid marriage. Back then I didn't as much, but anyway. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I loved that, but I wasn't doing anything for me. I wasn't walking in my purpose. I wasn't being an expression of my purpose. And so as I watched those towels kind of bounce around, I thought, that's a great visual of my life. I just feel like everything is kind of to and fro and hamster wheel and autopilot. That was my moment.
And, I think you touched on something that so many moms go through. And I think that's a great analogy with the towels bouncing around, because you're pulled here, you're doing appointments, you've got, dance class or whatever it is. You're everybody else's almost like possession, like, hey, you need to take me here, do this, do that. Yeah. But what's there for you? I mean, and that's not selfish. That's just, you need a purpose.
Yeah.
So that's a great analogy. I love that hit you that way, because that is something that most women, I think, are going to resonate with.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, we're going to jam on purpose a little bit. I'm guessing, but your purpose is not your kids. It is not your kids. It is not your family. It is not your career. It is not the trophies on the wall. It is not the book you've written. It is not any of those things. None of those things. Those things are a great motivator.
Right.
be an expression of your purpose. But I can promise you, when your first kid leaves home and moves 1,500 miles away, like mine did 2 years ago, and I'm flat on the kitchen floor, bawling my eyes out to the point where scabs forming around my eyes, right?
Oh my God.
I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
So if you're living for your kid, and you know, after day 3, I was able to pick myself up and go, come on. Like, I allowed myself to grieve because I really believe, and this is something I work on with my private clients, everything is better out than held in.
Yes.
So I let myself cry. I did what I needed to do. My husband was like, after day 3, he's like, I don't even know what to do with you anymore. I don't even know. But I was
bet.
picking myself up and go, come on, girl, you got a purpose. You got a purpose. And his life is moving on. He is fulfilling his dreams. That is what he was created and designed for. Let's reroute and let's go back to what you were created and designed for.
And isn't it part of parents? Like, I just had this conversation with my daughter. She's in college as well, and she's talking about going for her master's. She's a psychology major, and, you know, she wants to go to an area that stirs up fear inside of me. So I'm like, okay, she has my opinion. I'm like, okay, you need to make your decisions, but not based on my fear.
Yeah.
And that's hard as a mom because,
Yeah.
you know, we have like, you're going to this big city that I'm not familiar with. And it's like, that's terrifying. But yet people do live there. People succeed. People thrive.
Yeah.
And I have to convince myself not to let my fear overshadow her purpose. So I think that's kind of where you have to come to and let them live their purpose while you're trying to figure out your own.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Yes. Uncover. I always say uncover your own.
Yeah.
Your purpose is actually part of your DNA. Like the minute you had breath in you, or the minute you received, you actually have your purpose within you. It's just as we start to navigate through life, we start to be handed these situations.
Yes.
That tell us, who do you think you are?
Right.
You're not smart enough. You're not capable enough. You're ugly. You don't know what you're talking about. Sit back down. Nobody wants to hear from you. Are you really going to open up that can of worms? Don't rock the boat. And then we start taking that on, and it just layer after layer. So your purpose gets covered up, is what I like to say.
And I went through like imposter syndrome, which is really similar to what you're talking about, where you're like, who am I? Who's going to listen to me? Who am I to take this stance and, you know, do what I want to do?
Who are you not to?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Make the pivot. Like, who are you not to? Do you actually want to get to your deathbed and be sitting there having this movie screen playing with all of the stories of the things you could have done, the person you could have been, the things you could have had, and the experiences that you could have been a part of, and be making an impact in other people's lives? I think that's the definition of hell, to have that, not have taken action. So it's really about doing the intense belief work, understanding that you have a purpose, building your vision on your purpose. Like, your purpose is like the ground foundation. Like, it's your basement. It's the concrete. And then you're building your vision out from that. So your vision is like the walls of the house.
Right.
Doing the belief work and all of that, setting the boundaries, and telling yourself, who am I not to go and do that?
So talk a little bit about that mindset shift then, going from picking yourself off the floor, you know, and your child's going, was it 1,500 miles away from you?
Yeah.
And that shift that had to happen. Because it doesn't go from I'm on the floor crying to I'm up, let's do everything right now. And I'm, you know, perfectly in the mindset. Talk a bit about the shifting that happens or that you had to go through.
Yeah. Well, 2 years ago, I wasn't an expression of my purpose. So 2 years ago, when he left the house, I knew like, because I had been doing this work now for so long, that I knew I just needed to let myself grieve and get it out of my body. Like, it actually had to get out of my body. So I allowed myself that 3-day period to bawl and blubber and moan and whatever. Thank God I had a kick-ass coach. I still coach with her today. She's absolutely incredible. And by the way, for those of you listening, not coaching, you need a coach. Everybody needs a coach. Sorry, but you just do it. Well, I'm actually not.
Agreed. Yep.
Everybody needs and deserves a coach. I don't care if it's me, Wendy, I don't care who it is. Just get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, because their whole job, their whole purpose is to show you what's possible when you can't see it. So when I'm laying down on that floor, blubbering my eyes out, my coach is like, okay, we're going to get through this. We're going to do it together. And then after about day 3 or 4, she was like, all right, pity party's over. Let's rock. Remember,
I'm out of that pit of shit.
Okay. So that was, fortunately, I had been doing the work long enough by that point, Wendy, that I knew, okay, first we got to let ourselves grieve. This is not about the other thing we don't want to do. We don't want to spiritually bypass either. We don't want to just move into positive Pollyanna.
Yep.
We need to grieve when we need to feel anger. We're seeing some of that in the world right now. I think this conversation is beautiful for what's going on right now.
Yep.
Do not want to spiritually bypass. That's dangerous ground. So that's why I knew in that moment, get it out of your body, grieve, cry, do whatever, get angry. Because, you know, that movie player kept going through my mind, all of the Christmases where he would toddle down with his little onesie pajamas, all of the parties, all of the, you know, he was my boo, you know. He's almost 21, and back when he was born, you know, his dad, who I'm still married to, is still my partner, great man. He was working a lot. He was gone a lot. It was just me and him. It was just me and that little guy.
Right.
So we're tight. And so when he left, when he crossed that threshold at 5 a.m. that morning, when we took him down to Florida, it was literally like a movie player was playing in my mind, right?
Yeah.
Because I had been doing the work, I knew, let yourself grieve, but after you get it out, let's move. And let's start taking action. That was really, that's where, to answer your question, I see so many women get stuck. You can know your purpose. You can know what it is that you want to do. But unless you're moving your feet, women come to me all the time. I've read You Are a Badass. I've read all of Brene Brown. I've read every self-help book. I have the vision board workshop that I go to every year. I listen to all the podcasts. But it's not working. Well, it's not working because you're not taking action.
Right. Action is the key. Yes.
You are not giving your body and your mind new evidence.
Right.
That you're capable. That's really what you're doing, is you're giving yourself new evidence that I can actually do this. Like, I was actually made for this. Right.
That's huge.
Yeah. That was kind of my moment 2 years ago where I pivoted.
Yeah. And I think you described something perfectly as far as like letting all that emotion out. It's almost like, for me, when I go through that, it's almost like layers. It's like baby steps, and it's like you just get lighter each layer, kind of letting go of those things, where you're finally able to let stuff in, because we get so bogged down with all these, you know, guilt and sadness and all these other feelings. I'm not going to say they're bad feelings by any means, because they're feelings. I don't associate good or bad with feelings, but you have to let those heavier feelings out and let them go and release them so you can bring in all the good stuff.
Yes. I love that you said that, because feelings just are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just noticing. This work is so much about just noticing. Oh, I'm feeling disappointed. Well, of course I'm feeling disappointed. I had this expectation, or I had this whatever. Of course I'm feeling angry about this. Of course I'm feeling sad.
Yes. And to me, they only become bad emotions if you react on them in a bad way. You know, you start spewing hate, you start taking all of your aggression out on other people. That's when I feel like this becomes a negative connotation to that feeling.
Yes, there is something, I always teach my students in my clients, there is something called impact, right? So you can't walk into the office on Monday morning because you had a fight with your husband on Sunday night. You got up Monday morning, your kid was in your face, you didn't get your coffee. So you're going to walk into the office Monday morning and look at all of your coworkers and go, you guys are a bunch of idiots, and go into your office cubicle and shut the door. Like, you can do that, but you have to understand that there's going to be an impact for that.
So because by the time then you come down from that and you're in a better mood, you have an employee coming into your office then, and they're like just kind of ticked off at you, and they're like treating you like crap. You're like, what is going on with you? What's your problem, right? When you were their problem. Yeah, that's the impact. So
exactly.
Okay, so talk about like what's happened in the last couple of years then. Like, Okay, so you went through that mindset shift. You're working on you essentially. What happens in the next couple years now?
Yeah. Well, how much time do we have? Let's see here.
We got some time.
So for me, it was really, Wendy, what it goes back to is when I had that moment in front of the dryer, I knew something had to change. I just couldn't stay in that. Like, who wants to wake up every day and feel like they don't matter? They don't have a purpose. They're not taking aligned action that's creating any impact in the world. I don't think anybody actually really wants that, right? So I knew that I had to do something to have a shift. So that moment is when I signed up and put some skin in the game, because it is very important.
Very much so. 100% agree.
Right? You just have to.
Yes.
And that's when I went to my first coach training school.
Wow.
And of course, it was 2 steps forward, 10 back.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. There's so much truth in that.
Right. And I really want people to hear me say that, and for the listeners and people who are viewing to really understand that it's not, there's no such thing as perfect. You don't come out of the gate typically just rocking and rolling. It literally was 2 steps forward and 10 back. My first launch, guess how many people signed up?
Yeah.
0. Right. 0. So it was like, I knew it. I knew I wasn't made for this. I knew I wasn't smart enough. All gremlins came just running back. See, you weren't really meant for this.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to be doing this. So it was working with a kick-ass, again, mindset coach. And when I say mindset, Wendy, I mean mindset coaches out there. I'm talking like somebody who is high level mindset, who is really helping you construct a new belief system. Because what you want is right here, right? This is your vision, your dreams, all of your good stuff. Subconscious hullabaloo happening down here, right?
Yep.
And the subconscious is 95% the boss. It's driving the bus 95% of the time. So what that means is you got all of this good stuff that you want to do and the impact you want to make and all of the dreams, and you want to have that retreat in Italy, and you want to do a girls' in New York City, and you want to have a kick-ass marriage and all of this stuff. But you got this subconscious down here going, you come from a heritage of divorced people, really? Your marriage is dead. Who are you to think that you get to trot out to New York City with your college besties? Like, that's just something that we don't do. Right. Nobody wants to help you, come along and watch the kids and help you make that happen. You don't deserve that.
Yes.
All of these stories. You're not smart enough to figure out how to be an entrepreneur. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. You're not going to be a speaker. All of that is driving the bus. So until we are able to really understand that and really create a new belief system based on our purpose and our vision, it's going to be this 2 steps forward and 10 back.
And you really need someone to help you work through that, because on the surface we can say, all the I ams, which are fantastic affirmations I believe in, but if you're saying that and you don't have that belief system and you haven't done that deeper work, it's kind of like you're doing it kind of all just in vain, because you don't believe it. Your subconscious says, well, let the record show you've never had belief in yourself before, so just saying these little things, they don't kind of mean squat to me.
Right. And usually when a client comes to me, it's, I do all the affirmations. Well, of course you do.
Yeah,
you do. And
it's a good start.
Start. I'm not shaming. It's no judgment in this land.
Right.
But I want the viewers to really understand, if you're sitting there watching this going, right, it's not working. The You Are a Badass book, it's not working. Why is it not working? This is why. And I really feel on fire and just very passionate about helping people understand, because they're sitting there going, I'm doing all the things. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
There's a reason why.
Yeah, there's that surface.
Yes, it's just the surface stuff.
Yeah.
So unless, and it's a great place to start. It's where,
Absolutely.
and I do
Yeah.
all of those things, listeners.
Yeah, I do too. But
Right.
yeah, they're absolutely helpful. But yeah, there's more work to be done.
Yes, yes. So every morning it's a matter of me getting up and spending time with my beliefs, like really understanding this high level mindset work and really creating a new belief system. And it's the work that you will be doing for the rest of your life. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you actually start to believe one of your beliefs, you're going to up level. And now you're going to hit another block. So now we're going to create a new belief. It's just ever going, which is part of the fun. It's so fun. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I don't even know what it was.
And I think too, and kind of going off of that too, like, I don't know if you know, Chalene Johnson she was a Beachbody trainer and all that. And I follow her for years. Something she had this push book that just everything she put in there made so much sense to me. And it kind of ties in what you're saying. So she talked about people who have this big vision of what they want, but she had people work through their priorities. And that's where people get hung up, I think. They think, I have this vision, like I want to travel the world. And yet they have a family who that's their number one priority. So do you really want to be away from your family? And at that subconscious level, you're not going to get here because you really don't, it's not something you truly want. So you have to work through what ties in with your priorities and what's going to work and make that like kind of cohesive. My dream, my priorities, and how can I make it work? And I never thought about that.
Yes.
You know, she talked quickly about like she was approached about doing like being a trainer on a big, I think it was like Biggest Loser. She didn't say it, but she kind of implied it was like Biggest Loser.
Sure.
And that's like a dream for a trainer. But like she said, I'd have to be away from my family for months and months. And she's like, that's not a priority for me. She's like, that's a dream, but because my priority is my family, it's not going to happen. So you have to be willing then to see those things.
And what I'm hearing you say, and this is my expertise, this is my jam, exactly what we're talking about right here. It goes back to, you have a purpose.
Yeah.
Your purpose was put into you from the minute you were born or conceived. It is part of your DNA. Part of your DNA. It is not something that you are trying to be. It is not the trophies on the wall. It is literally who you are.
Right.
Your vision is not the same as your purpose. Your vision is an expression of your purpose. So it is always changing. So in your example with Chalene, her current vision, that did not work. Now, maybe in this next season of life, her vision will change and she will say, I'm ready to sign up for something like that. Our visions are, I always tell people, don't even do a vision past 1 year. This 3 and 5 vision, for those of you watching right now, stop it. Just stop it.
Thank you.
Your mind is freaking out going, I mean,
it's too much.
Really get through the end of the week.
Right.
Let's do 1 year. Let's do what in 1 year, where do we want to be? How do we want to feel? What are some of the things that we wanted to accomplish and do? How do we want to show up in the world? And it's based on our purpose. And the vision, every year we kind of tweak and adjust. I mean, there was a time where I was in, I don't know how much time we have, but I was a senior photographer. That's part of my vision. But then there was a time to put that tool down and create a new vision. I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same work because it's my purpose. I'm just carrying it out with coaching now. That's what's really cool about knowing your purpose is you start to see the threads, how you've actually been utilizing it and living into it your whole life. It's just that your vision changes and you put down one tool and you pick up something else to be an expression of that purpose. Does that make sense?
It does. And as you're saying that, I keep like almost like in my head visualizing almost like a tree, like your purpose is kind of the roots and you're kind of expanding out as you grow and you're figuring out the branches.
Yes. And then for our vision and our purpose, that's where we set all of our goals and our intentions. Like those things that we should be doing, need to be doing every day, every month, every week to support the vision and the purpose. But unless you know your vision and your purpose, it's like nailing pillow to the wall.
Right. And I feel like a lot of, especially when you become an entrepreneur, I feel like, and I'm guilty of this totally, where I'm kind of like, I was just throwing all these different things out there. That's why I say I have multiple titles, because I've just kind of like done stuff, thrown it out there and kind of see what sticks and how it makes me feel. And then I was like, okay, now this isn't aligning with my purpose and who I am. So now I'm going to shift. This seems more what I'm grounded with and what, resonates with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first started, I would do master classes in my home. I mean, there were times where I had 30 women in my living room. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. But then it got to the point where we travel a lot and I didn't want to be tied down. Mm-hmm. And so then it was like, all right, we need to close this down. This just is not an expression of my purpose anymore. This is not something that I want to continue to carry out in my vision. I want to be able to travel. I have clients from all over the world. That's ultimately what I wanted. And by just containing myself to the container in my living room, I wanted more than that. I wanted to go beyond that. So there was a time where it was like, all right, I have to shut this down in order to do something that feels really good and excites me. It's about following the energy.
Right. And not stifling yourself in the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was a great way to start. You're right. You have to try things in order to collect the data and the information. That's all you're doing, is you're just throwing some things out there to kind of go, okay, that worked and that felt really good and it was super fun. Let's do it again. Or that did not feel good at all. Hated it.
Right.
Happened in there, never doing that again.
Right. And there's things you're going to put your energy towards that you just feel lit up by. That maybe, okay, so like, for example, this podcast that I created, like, it's not monetized. So it's just something I'm passionate. Like, I just really love doing this. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not bringing in an income, but it's one of those things that I love meeting women like yourself who have like, these huge things they're doing and the people they're helping. So that ignites something in me. That's part of my purpose.
Yes.
So I think when we learn to follow those things, like you're saying, I don't look at the things I've done that I've kind of like pushed aside as a failure. It's a learning experience. Like, okay, I learned that that's not aligning with my purpose. It's not lighting me up. Time to shift.
Yes. I actually, and I want your listeners to really lean into this, whether they're live play or whatever, but
I physically was leaning in.
I want you to get this, because this is tripping a lot of you up. There is no such thing as failure.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
Like, it literally doesn't exist. If you take the word fail, first attempt in learning. So go back to that launch that, remember, people, nobody signed up. Zero. Sure, was I a little embarrassed? Was I a little whatever? Of course. I'm a human. I'm not a robot, right?
Right.
But then once I picked myself back up, it was like, all right, what did I learn? What data did I collect?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we need to think about some Facebook ads. Okay, what would that look like?
Right.
Maybe I need to work on my copywriting skills a little bit. What would that look like? Who could I partner and help me with that? Or how could I go about learning, sharpening my writing? Okay, let's see what's my sales process look like? Okay, how am I following up? What are my calls to actions? Are they strong? I mean, I had so much data and information to go on from that launch. But here's where we go wrong, Wendy. We will literally look at that and go, 0 signups, failure. Moving on. Something else. Yeah. That was the sign. I'm not supposed to do it.
Yeah, we do that.
Right? That is exactly what we do. And that is exactly where things go kittywampus. So if we pick ourselves back up and go, okay, how did I grow? How did I show up? Where could I have shown up? I just finished up a 7-day challenge yesterday. 7 days to sustainable success.
Awesome.
And I'm telling you what, every night I hit the pillow. When my head hit the pillow, I was like, I'm so proud of how I showed up today in that group. I just had fun. I just had fun. That's all. I just had fun, and I just was in there serving those delicious women and interacting with them and playing and just being an expression of my purpose, being me.
Right. That's awesome.
We'd sing, we'd learn some things, we'd do some homework, we did some rapid fire coaching. It was amazing. It was amazing. But like I said, back to that launch, so often we'll just go, well, that was a failure, and we'll never try, rather than just collect the data and keep going and tweaking and adjusting.
Right. You're absolutely right. Because I held my first women's event, and I had this big high expectation, like this is going to be like this. And the event was awesome. Like I had incredible speakers. I had, I sold tickets. End of the day, I was in the red. I mean, as far as like what the event cost me and tickets and all that. So at one point I was like, oh my gosh, this is I'll never do this again. But then the event happened, and I was on such a high after that event. I'm like, I'm going to do this every year.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, but I can learn now. What did I do wrong that I ended up like in the red, like financially, like, okay, I didn't even like break even, which was just the goal. So I'm like, okay, like you said, shift. Okay, I loved this. Like it lit me up. I saw the audience's response, and they were lit up and talking about it. I'm like, all right, we got somewhere to start from now.
Love it. Yeah, you had information, right?
Yeah.
Had you have just sat there and stewed in it, you'd never know.
Yeah, I could have sat there and dwelled in the fact that, I was like in the negative, and at one point it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, was this stupid? Like, what did I do?
Right.
And I could have said, I'll never do this again. It's not worth the risk. But then it's like, no, I can do this differently next time. When I saw the reaction and how I felt, that is all the difference, is how you feel, that what lights you up. And when you were talking about being in your group and coaching and the rapid fire and all that, you could physically just see you light up talking about that.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Well, and here's even for anyone listening, I'd love to have you join, because the rapid fire last week was so epic. So the rapid fire was, ladies, what questions do you have? Like fill out your Google form. Like, what would you like coaching on? Anything. Sky's the limit.
Right.
Don't hold back. So they sent in their Google forms. We met on the Zoom platform. It was like epic. I mean, and it was just extraordinary. So now I woke up this morning and I was like, let's do it again. That was so much fun. My husband's gone tonight. Like, what better way could I spend my evening than hanging out with these women that want to learn and want to grow and want to have some shifts? So I sent an email to my community. Listen, it's happening again tonight. 7:30.
Awesome.
Rapid fire. Let's do it, ladies. I mean, that's what it's all about. But had I not have done that last week, I tapped into the energy and wouldn't have known.
Exactly. So let's talk about your coaching business. So obviously you found, great success with it, and let's talk about that a bit, and, what you offer and how much success you have found.
How much what I have found? Success. Okay. Yeah. So I think everybody gets to define. It's interesting you bring that up. And I love that you brought that up, because that was day number 1 of the challenge. So the challenge was called the 7 Secrets of Sustainable Success. And for those listening that are like, well, I didn't get to participate in that, replays are totally available. So we can get you set up with going through those 7 days on your own time. But day number 1 was defining, what does success look like and feel like to you?
Yeah. And there's a huge discrepancy between how everybody defines success.
Yep. And you know why that's so important to me? 2 reasons. I had somebody in my life who had a very strong impact for many, many years, that was constantly talking about success in terms of how much money they made, what kind of house they lived in, their clout. So I had this belief system form that, well, I must not be successful. That must mean that I'm not successful, because right now I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm not bringing in that kind of income. So that must mean I'm not successful.
Right.
I didn't even realize I was buying into that belief system. And then I started to notice a lot of my clients were coming in with that same belief system, and they were so attached to these outcomes, and they were feeling like, unless I can earn X, Y, and Z, I'm not successful, yada, yada, yada. So that's sometimes with clients, or like I said, the first day of this challenge, that's where we start. What does it like to you? What does it feel like to you? I don't know. Maybe it's having a marriage where every Thursday night you sit down and you pour a glass of wine or tea or whatever floats your fancy, and you just take an hour and you unpack the week, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it is slowing yourself down and allowing yourself the gift of laying in the hammock on a sunny Sunday afternoon and immersing yourself in a good novel. Maybe success looks like to you raising your voice, standing for something that, you know, is really important to you. Maybe it's just maybe success is asking for help. Like, hey, mother-in-law, would you be available to watch the kids every Friday from 10 to noon? Because I'm trying to get this kick-ass business launched and I need some help. Right? So you get to define what success looks like and feels like to you, right?
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. So for me, I can be running this kick-ass business and be coaching and serving all day long. But at the end of the day, if I don't have the love from my family and my partner, if they're feeling neglected and whatnot, I'm not all that successful, right? They're part of my world. They're part of my value system. So we really want to go back to, how do you define success, first of all? And as far as you asked me about my coaching.
Absolutely. Let's that's part, it ties all in with your success and how you feel successful, you know? So absolutely.
So I do a lot of private one-on-one coaching. That's where we can really do some of the deep dive belief system type work. You know, it's always amazing the people that come to me that want to work on one thing and we totally pivot and we end up working on something completely different, because a lot of times the issue isn't really the issue. So I might have somebody that comes to me that says, I want to earn 40 grand in my business per month. I've had this happen.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had this happen. You know, they want to be a rock star in their business. And when I walk them through the assessment that I use right out of the gate, first coaching session, a lot of times they're in awe of some of the things that they are tolerating, some of the things that they are allowing, some of the things that are going on in their world. So we end up with massive pivots and working on things like their marriage. Because you start to realize, okay, how I'm showing up in my business is sort of like a mirror to how I'm showing up in my own four walls.
Right.
And I think I need to start here first. And then it just spills over into every other component. Like when you start to do the work of you, Wendy, and not compartmentalize it, it spills over into everything.
Yes.
So I love the one-on-one coaching because it's deep and it's just connecting. And that's part of my purpose, is to go deep with my clients and to help them build high quality relationships with themselves.
And, you know, something you said really sticks out to me, because I did a discovery call with another coach a few years back, and it's interesting. So like when somebody works with you, and I'm sure you've had this, you know, they, in their mind, they think they know, like you said, what they need to work on and where they need to go. But then when they start articulating it to you, so here's what happened with me is she had walked me through like what my goals were. And I talked to, okay, now when you hit that amount, you know, of what you want to bring in, so like, what are you going to do with that? Like, you know, and so I said, I'm going to do this for my daughter, my husband, I'm going to do this for the house. And she goes, okay, what about you? What are you going to do for you? It never occurred to me. I never put myself in the equation. And it was like a huge light bulb went off. And I think that's what people are going to find when they talk to you, is you walk them through that assessment and they're going to have those aha moments like, holy crap, I never even thought of that.
Yes.
And that's what it sounds like you're talking about a bit.
Yes. Every woman that comes to me, I work with a lot of high achievers. They struggle to put themselves first. And there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason, you know, and the reasons are always, you know, I'm at work too late, I'm overwhelmed, and they just don't know how to prioritize themselves.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they're enough. Bottom line, I have women that have very impressive resumes, my friends. It doesn't matter. I mean, they got the fancy ass handbags, they got it all, and it doesn't matter. We all have a story somewhere looming around in there that we are not enough, that we are not, you fill in the blank, I am not what enough. Sometimes it is just a general, I'm not enough, but a lot of times it's I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable enough, things of that nature. But they all struggle to put themselves first and their dreams and their vision, and they feel like they're living life for somebody other than themselves. There's a reason. There's a reason why. So that's all the work that I get to do with them, and it's delicious and beautiful. So I do love one-on-one coaching. I do a 3-month package, a 6-month package. I really do love the 6-month only because it takes us 30, 40, 50, 60 years to create this belief system.
Right.
Not going to happen knocking it down in a day.
Right. It doesn't go away overnight. You don't just switch.
Exactly. So the longer I can get in there and we can dig around and we can play and we can elevate and excavate some of those beliefs, the more you see that client take off and really start living into their true purpose and their impact. So I'll have a lot of clients that I work with, and end up working for a year or more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then there's those clients who, deep down and dirty, 3 months, they can get it done. I've had a couple of those. Most people tend to fall in that 6 month to a year.
Right.
Really want to dig around and lift all that stuff out of there. And
that's much more reasonable. Yeah.
They love the support because they're doing big things. They're making big shifts. Yeah. They love having support. So then the other thing that I do a once a month, totally free, because I love it. It's an expression of my purpose. Right. The Morning Brew, where we just get together. We have coffee at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we kind of coach around. We coach around a topic. So last week was, what are you tolerating? That was a good one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a good one. Tolerations are huge.
Okay.
It's an opportunity for women to come into this Zoom platform, this safe, non-judgmental container.
Right.
Get a taste for what coaching might be like and to have some shifts and ahas, right?
Okay.
So I do that the first Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
Yep.
And how can people participate in that? Because I want to put that in the comments. So people, if they want to participate, how would they go about finding that?
So they could find that. I'm just trying to think here.
It's Morning Brew.
Yes. So we can totally hook them up with a link.
Okay.
I have everything listed out really beautifully in my Instagram bio.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook. I'm in all the places.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to put in Facebook, and I'm just going to put Morning Brew. So Facebook, Instagram, if they look you up, they'll be able to find some information on that group. That sounds phenomenal. I love the whole concept of that.
It's great. It's great. It's been really successful. The women are loving it. So, and please feel free to get in touch with me. I can provide you, links to whatever you need.
And I have your website up. So KristaResnick.com. Make sure you go there and find out more about her and the program she offers. Now we talked a bit about, you have something coming up, don't you? Let's talk about that.
Okay. So Cart opened yesterday. I'm so excited, you guys. This is like my life work. Cart opened yesterday for a program called Made for This. Okay. And I'm so deeply passionate about this project and this program because each and every one of you listening was made for something. You were not made to people please. You were not made to identify as a perfectionist. You were not made to live in self-doubt, in hesitation, in anxiety. You were not made to hide. You were not made to give your energy to everybody else in order to make them happy.
Wow.
You were made for a purpose.
I love that.
I know, right? I know. When you start to align with that, when you start to build out your purpose, which is right out of the gate, what we do the very first week, and then we start to build your vision, and then we start to build the belief system, you start to get so clear on so many different things in your life, and you actually have a plan of the things that you want to start to create and do and have and be. I mean, really, it's about aligning with who you really are. just being an expression of that. I mean, it's why I can get on Facebook Live and, dance and make an ass of myself. A lot of people probably think because I'm an expression of that's just who I am. Right. If you don't like it, you can go watch somebody else's live. That's totally okay. No judgment. Just go watch somebody else's live. That's a little calm down than me.
Right. So, and that's good that you can say that too. It's not like you're not trying to attract literally everybody. Like everybody has to watch me. It's like, no, you guys are my group. Like these are my people.
Yep. Yes.
That's what you want in your life is your people.
Yeah. So I have a pretty epic community of people. And so I would love for any of the listeners who are like, yes, I'm so tired of the overachieving. I'm so tired of, waking up every day and feeling like I am those towels in the dryer. I need clarity. I need conviction. I need courage in my life. I need purpose. What even is a purpose? What even is a purpose? We unpack all of that right out of the gate week 1. So this is going to be an 8-week intensive, and it starts on July 1st. We're going to do rapid fire coaching on June 24th. So you get a little extra coaching. And it's going to be absolutely extraordinary. The results that you're going to see are going to impact every aspect of your life, your marriage, your kids, your career, all of it.
It sounds absolutely amazing. So how would somebody just go through your website, or what's the best place to find information on that for them to sign up?
Let's see. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Facebook. And I can drop links if you want into the comments. That would be a really great way to do it too. That way they can just click on it and kind of mess around. I do have a specific link made for this, but they can find me on Facebook and I can get them hooked up.
Yeah. And I'll have you tagged in all the posts and stuff too, as I share, the broadcast. And, once we are done, then I'll tag you in so they can just click on your profile and then message you there and ask questions and
Instagram,
get signed up.
Everything in my bio, very beautifully laid out for each thing
perfect.
I'm involved in. Yeah, it's just Instagram's a very nice platform for, once you click on my link in the bio, everything's laid out gorgeously.
Perfect. So that's okay. So yeah, either Facebook or Instagram, you can find out more information. Of course, she's got her website, KristaResnick.com.
Yes.
And I'm just so excited you were here today. Thank you so much.
This was amazing. Thank you.
I think you're just doing such impactful things and, creating a space for women to really find themselves within their purpose. I think that's just phenomenal. So and in this day and age, women can get lost very easily in the entrepreneur world and what their purpose is. So to have someone they can go to and be coached and really walk through a really well laid out program, I mean, that's huge.
It is huge. It is huge. And just final note, I wake up so excited every day to be an expression of my purpose, which really is quite simply to remind you of how powerful you are. You really, really are. You actually have the answers and the power within you, and to show you what's possible for your life.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again so much. We're out of time right now, but thank you again, Krista. You're just a phenomenal guest, and I really hope some people get out there and sign up for her new 8-week program, and that you find your purpose and have great success with it.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, so thank you again. We'll be back next week, same time on Mondays, 11 a.m. So that's all for today. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.